Welcome to Fantasy Football Hub. Today I'm joined by FPL Salah to preview the final game week of the season. Abdul, we've made it. Game week 38. How are you feeling?
Yeah, to be honest, Jack, I'm looking forward to next season already. I've not not had the best season. It's not been a disaster, but yeah, I'm personally not been too happy with my rank. I'm just hoping to really kind of now finish in the top 100k. But yeah, I guess it was due, I think.
You know what? I feel completely the same way. I kind of feel bad saying it, but sometimes you just have those rough patches where things don't go your way. And for me personally, I'm ready for next season. My team value is horrible. There've been so many players I couldn't get to that I wanted to get to. Yeah, it's not gone super well last few weeks, but nonetheless, 100k is a good goal I think to aim for. Let's have a look at your team so far for the week, because has it been good? Has it been bad? You're on a slight green, I want to say.
Yeah, I'm on a small green. I guess a lot depends on I think mostly Bruno and Rashford starting. They're fairly low, and I think Bruno's about 46% and Rashford about kind of 60%. So they've got a bit of ownership there. I think the Brighton boys are quite high owned. So McAllister is the lowest on there. So as long as those kind of picks do well, should hopefully kind of finish on the green. Haaland, I mean, I hope he starts tonight. I hope he starts and does well, even though his kind of his ownership will mean, not many. I think it's like 196% EO. So his points aren't going to mean much, but it's just the kind of psychological factor of, captaining a player who was benched twice in a double game week.
Yes.
I don't want to have that. So I hope he does start.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get straight into your team for next week, because this is where it gets fun.
Yeah.
We have so much potential here for a crazy breadth of picks, which I love, because for a lot of the season it has been kind of template, and it does make a lot of sense a lot of the time to stick to a template and go with relatively safe picks on the whole. But for now, just talk to me about, in general, Game Week 38 and the potential to go different and really exploit a pretty original game week.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Game Week 38 is there's always goals. There's hardly any clean sheets. I mean, I've seen a few kind of threads on Twitter as well, which kind of proves that Game Week 38 on average does have more goals than than the rest of the season, and it kind of makes sense because, like, for example, City have won the league. A lot of teams have got nothing to play for. I think the only kind of real battle. I mean, if Man United win tomorrow against Chelsea or even get a point, then they're the top four secured as well. And then you only really got the relegation battle of Everton, Leeds, and who else is it? Everton, Leeds, and Leicester. So yeah, so those are only. There's a few teams left with something to play for. The rest of them don't. So there's always. I mean, the pressure's off. There's going to be probably rotation. I mean, the thing is, if United, as I said, if United pick up a point, then United, Brighton, and Newcastle have got European football, sewn up going into the final game. So there could be rotation there.
Yeah,
there's bound to be rotation, for City also, and then the rest of the teams, we see it, every season, like youth players get run out, kind of fringe players, get random starts here and there. So it's going to be carnage, and I think there's opportunity there to kind of go for a differential captain or go for some wild picks really.
Okay, so let's just, without further ado, I want to hear your thoughts on what you're thinking right now.
Yes, for my own team, I'm thinking. So if you look at my team, I say my weak links this week are Isaac and Trippier. First of all, because they're again, they probably will start, but Chelsea away. Okay, Chelsea have been terrible, but it isn't the best fixture.
Sure.
Away from home, I think the Brighton players also. Villa at home is a difficult fixture, and again, they may well rotate as well. They've got European football done and dusted, so especially if they beat City tonight, then there's probably more chance we see a rotation on the weekend as well. So I think those are my weak links. So at the moment, I'm thinking of getting Eze in there for either, most likely Matoma, and then possibly doing something like Isaac to maybe Alvarez, because if Alvarez, if City rotate again at the weekend, Alvarez is a good punt. And the thing is as well, on Sunday, all the games kick off at the same time. So a lot of us are going to be waiting for early team news on that day. I said it's going to be carnage, but I think it is worth waiting until then, if you are looking to make these moves, because the thing is, in my team, Haaland could possibly be benched.
Yeah.
Possibly my two Brighton midfielders, one of them could be benched. Even one of my United players could be benched as well. I mean, I'm not putting anything past that because, they've got an FA Cup final on the 6th of June, same as City. So I do think there's more chance of them starting and then coming off early. But, it's more than a 10% chance, I'd say. I mean, if United had something to play for, then obviously Bruno and Rashford and Shaw, 100%, there'd be no doubt they're going to be starting that game. But if they've got nothing to play for in terms of the league and then they've got FA Cup final a week later, so there's a lot here I could do, but at the moment, kind of if everything kind of goes as expected, I'm looking to bring in Eze. I do think I think he'll be a popular transfer this week, but I think in
Yeah.
the grand scheme of things, his ownership will be quite low. And honestly, on the captain front, I've not really decided yet. I've thought of even captaining somebody like Rashford or Salah ahead of Haaland. I think most likely I'll look elsewhere, instead of Haaland, for the final day because, firstly, I need to try and kind of break into that top 100k, and secondly, it's the last game week of the season, so you kind of want to have a bit of fun as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, according to the points prediction model on Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool, which is always linked at the top of the description and in the pinned comment, guys, if you want to check it out yourself for your team, Haaland is only predicted to score 4.8, whereas the likes of Salah and Bruno and even Rashford and Eze, your transfer in, are predicted to score more points. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree because even if Haaland starts, I mean, his minutes are going to be reduced. I think when the game is won, Pep will take him off. He's obviously not going to want to risk him getting injured with an FA Cup final and the Champions League still to come. So even if he starts, his minutes will be reduced. So I think, there's definitely an opportunity there to go elsewhere. And, the thing is, I mean, with the final day, it's just, if you're waiting for early team news, anything can happen. I mean, if Haaland's benched, then, potentially he goes, I can bring in Kane and then, use that money to upgrade, Matoma to Eze. So yeah, there's a lot of routes we can take here this week, and I think that goes for most other FPL managers as well.
Absolutely. In terms of early team news, I believe this is the first season in which the deadline has been an hour and a half before kickoff. I think, am I right in saying that, or did it change in a previous season?
I think you're right, actually. Yeah,
I think it might be.
I think it might be.
Yeah. Just because in previous seasons, with some Twitter accounts who actually got concrete team news at an hour and 15 minutes before the deadline. Oh, sorry, an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff, which was before the deadline before. Yeah. We knew 100% if your player was going to be starting or not. Yeah, it wasn't official, but we knew it, right? It was concrete. They've got it from the Premier League portal.
Yeah.
However, now, obviously, we don't have that because of that change to the deadline. What advice and what tips would you give to people and managers that are looking, obviously, for that early team news? But given that we're not going to get anything concrete, how will you go about assessing individual team news or leaks or rumors that you see? And how will you make that decision as to whether or not that justifies a transfer in your team?
Yeah, quite simply, there are very few accounts there, just for example, on Twitter, that always provide, 100% accurate team news. And I'll just literally be following them. There's two that I follow. One of them is Let's Talk Andy FPL.
Yeah.
And there's FPL Raptor as well. So I mean, them two have provided 100% team news in the past. So that's what I'll be doing. I mean, the thing with FPL Twitter is, it's a growing community. So as it grows, the amount of people who are on the wind up, like trolls, etc., increase. So there's going to be a lot of fake team news.
Yeah.
People pretending to be, changing their kind of the Twitter pictures and bios to accounts who are reliable and posting fake team news. So always that is one thing I would really kind of urge people to look out for is if you do see any team news, make sure it is not a troll account, and just follow the few accounts who have always provided, accurate information. And that's all we could do. I mean, it's thing is, it's a part of the game, Jack, where it's a bit like, it's quite it's quite unofficial in terms of we shouldn't really be kind of doing that, because obviously I don't think Premier League teams would like it. But I mean, the information is there, so we kind of have to take advantage of it. If I decide to, like, look at any team news, and then I'll be put at a disadvantage because everybody else is going to be doing it. So that's why, we were speaking about this last week as well. I really do hope they change the deadline, to kind of alleviate this. But the thing is, the edge is there, so we kind of have to take it. So yeah, just follow what I'll be doing. I'll just be following one or two really reliable accounts, and if we get any information, then I'll use it. If not, then I'll just kind of make my transfers based on what I think will happen.
Sure, completely agree. And I will say, actually, we had a lot of positive comments and kind of praise for what you were saying last week in terms of moving the deadline. People were very behind that. It's never going to be completely perfect for everyone, and I understand that, but I feel like a lot of people did agree with what you were saying last week in terms of moving the deadline to the first kickoff. Okay, then it is Gameweek 38 now. Ez's in your team as it stands. Alva's in your team. A couple of fun punts there. Do you have anyone else in mind? Not necessarily for your team, but just for other managers watching. Obviously, depends on your team structure and who you can get to. But in terms of final day differential picks, if you're really trying to go for rank or a mini league, have you got any names for us?
Yeah, so I really like Liverpool's fixture always against Southampton. I think they've got probably the best fixture, attacking wise. And I think Southampton, again, the manager said even last week that he was gonna kind of roll out some youth players and some fringe players, and especially if obviously United lose tomorrow and Liverpool can still get top four, then I really like either Diaz or Firmino. I think Firmino is obviously if we get early team news. If not, I think Diaz will start, and I think he's a really good kind of differential. I think when everyone's fit, I think he's in Klopp's first 11, and he's come back from injury. He's kind of got up to speed. He's kind of match fit now. So Diaz is one I really like. Also, Leicester City have got a must-win game against West Ham, and they need to win if they want any chance of staying up. So I think James Maddison, he is the talisman. He's got, I think, 10 goals and 9 assists this season. Hasn't been doing great. He did get arrested against Newcastle, but I think Dean Smith just went out for a draw in that game.
Yeah,
they set up like a 5-3-2 formation, so I think he definitely will start against West Ham. So again, he's a great punt. Another one I was looking at is Rodrigo. Now, if he's fit, I think I think he is. I think it was just like a little knock, but Bamford's out injured, and again, Leeds need to win that game. So this is like teams that have got something to play for, and he'll play it as the number 9. He'll play up top against Spurs, who have actually conceded like the 4th most goals in the league. They've actually been really kind of porous at the back.
Wow.
So I do think, they've conceded like 62 goals this season.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of gone a wee bit under the radar, but they have conceded, a fair amount of goals this season. I think that'll be an open game because Leeds are going to go for it, and then Spurs have obviously, they've got kind of pace in the break, and that'll be an open game. So Rodrigo, he'll be playing up front as a number 9. Because Bamford's out injured. He suffered a hamstring injury against West Ham, and he'll be on penalties as well. So those are those three picks that are kind of really stuck out to me. And Eze was obviously one as well, but obviously we kind of mentioned him earlier when I was talking about my own team. And for Arsenal, finally, I think Trossard and Jesus are going to be really low owned, and with Martinelli out, Trossard should start. And Jesus, I think, is really, I think people are kind of sleeping on him because he is one of those players who he gets loads of chances, but he misses loads as well. But this could be the game where he puts them all in, and could come up with a really huge haul. So yeah, there's a few punts that I was thinking of, and even ones I might even bring into my own team, to be honest. Depending on if we get early team news or not.
Love it. I will say, out of all those shouts, I particularly like the Firmino one. I know you didn't talk about him for too long, but in my opinion, final game, I think he's very likely to start because, what a send-off, what a servant to the club. And, unfortunately not at home, but he already had that home game. You can see how emotional he was. And I do think Klopp is, a nice guy. He does these sort of things to players. I think he'll start. I think he might play a good majority of the game, and it doesn't get much better than Southampton away. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I do think he's got more of a chance of starting if if United get top four by tomorrow. I think if there's nothing
Yes,
to play for, then there's no real reason not to start them, is there?
that's a very good point. Yeah.
If they've got something to play for, then you might think, obviously, Champions League football next season comes first,
Yeah.
and they probably come on as a sub if anything. But yeah, if Liverpool have nothing to play for, then I think he for sure starts.
Okay then, mate. That is going to do it for this one. Thank you very much, as always, Abdul, for your tips and advice and punts for the final game week. Yeah, this is going to be the last video of the season with you, my friend. I don't know how long the time off's going to be. Probably not too long, but a good few weeks nonetheless. I will say from my perspective, it's been very enjoyable doing these for the back end of this season with you guys. I really hope you have enjoyed this one. And yeah, Abdul, are you going to be enjoying the time off? That's my question. What are you going to be doing? Going on holiday, chilling out, no football?
Yeah, I'll be just kind of enjoying the break, to be honest.
Nice.
I mean, I do enjoy the break. I do, but then within 2 or 3 weeks, I'm kind of choking to
the
get
itch.
back into it and back into the season. Just one of those things. But yeah, I've enjoyed this season. Thanks to all the viewers for watching the videos, and enjoyed working with you as well, Jack. So hopefully more of the same next season.
Nice one, mate. Well, good luck, everyone. Again, all the links to everything you need, the tools are down in the description below. Use them for one more game week before we get into the start of the next season. And yeah, we will see you all next year.